Welcome back to another Bushel Builds video. Today we're going to be working on this 1992 Ford Bronco. We've just pulled it out of the field. It's seen a lot of wear and tear. From what we have seen, it hasn't been running in about 8 years, so we're going to see if we can get this thing running again. It may have transmission problems. We're probably going to need to fix that, but we're going to get it cleaned up and see if we can get it back on the road. So let's get busheling. This is a 92 Ford Bronco. This was the first year they made Broncos of this body style. The previous owner said that they had transmission problems, had it towed home and parked it. So we know that there is something wrong with the transmission. By looking at the plates and when it was last registered, we determined that it had last been registered in 2014, meaning this Bronco hasn't been running in over 8 years. When we first started working on the engine, we found evidence of mice running across the engine, and so we pulled apart the air intake and found a rat's nest inside of the air intake, and we cleaned that all up before we started it up. When we pulled this Bronco out of the field, most of the windows had been smashed out. The only pieces of glass that were still intact were the windshield and the driver's door window. All the other rear pieces of glass had been smashed out, so we took the time to vacuum up all the smashed glass. The top had previously been unbolted, so we just lifted that up out of the way and then cleared out the back. Because all the glass had been smashed out, the side panels on the inside and the back were very deteriorated, so we just cut them out, and we're going to have to find replacement ones. We siphoned all the old bad gas out of the gas tank. We siphoned about 15 gallons of bad gas out of the gas tank and ended up putting in about 10 gallons before we tried starting it up. The previous owners could not find the keys to the Bronco, so we ended up having to drill out the lock cylinder tumblers. At first we tried to drill it out from the side, the lock pin, so we could just slide the tumblers out, but it turns out we had to quarter turn it before we could slide it out, so we ended up just drilling the tumblers out completely and then pulling it out from the front. It was a lot harder to do it this way, and we ended up snapping it off and having to fiddle with it for a long time. But we eventually got the old lock cylinder tumblers out and purchased a new one and got it rekeyed. Once we got the ignition switch working again, we tried to start it up. When we turned the key to the start position, the starter was not engaging. We thought it might be because of a fuse. It also could be because the mice had chewed through a wire. So we ended up crossing the post on the starter solenoid to see if we could get it to fire off. And we eventually did get it to run. We then determined it was time to check the condition of the transmission, so we fired it up and tried to see if we could get it to move.
Got the brakes on?
Nothing was happening when I put it in gear. We tried switching from reverse to drive to listen for any noises coming from the transmission.
Reverse. Drive.
We didn't get anything to happen until I revved it up to a much higher RPM, and it barely started to crawl. So we got the bad gas drained out of this old Bronco, got some new fresh gas in it. We cleaned up some stuff under the hood. We didn't have the original keys to it, so we had to change out the lock cylinders, but we got it to run and fire off, and we have determined that the transmission is bad, so stick around and we'll be changing out the transmission in it. We're going to need a name for this Bronco, so drop down there in the comments what you guys think we should name it, and don't forget to like and subscribe and stick around for the next video.